Thank you for joining us for Weather 101. I'm Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, and for today's Weather 101, we want to focus on things dealing with flooding because this is actually the time in which we focus on flooding. And believe it or not, flooding actually causes more deaths as far as severe weather phenomenon is concerned than any other aspect of severe weather. That includes tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, as well as even hurricanes. So flooding is something that we should take a lot more seriously, but we tend to not take it as seriously as we should. But let's take a look at flooding and begin to take a, not only that, but how those flooding conditions can affect our driving conditions as well. So first and foremost, flooding safety tips, a couple of things to keep in mind. First and foremost, remember this thing. Turn around, don't drown. That's a very important aspect of flooding because a lot of folks underestimate just how much water is rising and how powerful it can be. Try to move to higher ground when it comes to flooding. If you're in a low-lying area and it historically has a problem with drainage, you know that you're susceptible in your area. Do not attempt to drive through flooded roads. This is where a lot of people underestimate it, particularly if you have a SUV or a truck and you tend to believe that you can deal with any kind of rushing water, but it doesn't take much in the way of water to actually move a vehicle. Believe it or not, 1 foot of water will float most vehicles, just a foot of water, which isn't necessarily up to the door and all that, so it's not as much as you think it would be. And then 2 feet of rushing water can carry away most vehicles, including SUVs. But even if you don't have 2 feet of water, you can still be susceptible to having problems with floodwaters and flooding conditions. Now, do not drive around barricades. If we have a barricade if we have barricades that are set up to avoid water, that's a big sign for you to drive around or turn around and don't drown. Now let's talk about hydroplaning. On the left, you see a vehicle that's going at 40 miles per hour. Tread, grooves, funnel the water, partially because you're not going too fast for the tires to do its job. On the right side, you have a vehicle going 65 miles per hour. Now, this is why it's so important not to drive fast during rainstorms and just flooding in general. Tires in full contact with the road tend to grip the roads a lot better and it's a lot safer. But on the right side, you see, if the grooves fail to funnel enough water out of the way, it causes you to have no contact with the road. And what does that turn into? Hydroplaning, or losing control of your vehicle. And it doesn't matter if it's a small car or if it's a large vehicle. The factors that will increase that chance of you hydroplaning: speeds over 45 miles per hour. In addition to that, low tire tread depth, if you have old tires on your vehicle, deeper water on the road, which you can't necessarily gauge with each puddle that you would go through. And all it takes is 1 puddle for you to lose control of your vehicle. And of course, too high or too low of tire pressure on your vehicle in the first place. And then of course, the larger the tire width, the more you're likely to hydroplane. Yeah, that's something that most folks don't realize. The larger or the wider your tire width is, the more likely you are to actually hydroplane. So that's why it is vitally important that that you do all that you can to avoid that kind of hydroplaning. Once again, just keep that in mind as we are continuing to stay focused on flooding for this season. I'm Coast TV Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, and this has been Weather 101.